This podcast features adult content not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. You have been warned.
Welcome to this episode of Back to the Story, where friends come together to play Dungeons and Dragons. I'll be your DM, Klouse. Let's get started.
If there's anybody in our friends group that you can tell me.
I don't think the stars would shine so bright if just one of you were not here.
My name is Ezekiel de Barbarang, at your service.
You have my sword.
You're the only person who makes me want to be better than I am.
And my axe.
I wasn't strong enough or fast enough or, clever enough. I didn't have it in me to stop what happened.
We haven't done this before. Does that make us professional?
That would make you amateurs at best.
And if those do not help their people survive, they're cut from the pack.
You wake up from this daydream, from this nightmare. Half memory, half dream.
There's more out there to find, and there's more moments for having.
I'll find a way to be stronger next time.
I don't know fuck all about what's right.
Everyone who has ever loved you was wrong.
You can do better.
I know. I have to.
How do you want to do this? So, previously, Chapter 20, Enter the Kingdom of War. As the Bronze Scales slowly made their way on the long pilgrimage to the holy city of Nyessa, they arrive in Western Kingdom of War. The Scales explore the city, bookshops, temples, a war keep, and the sea itself. Kalvyn takes on a job for the Temple of Valisol to collect some fire salts from the depths of the catacombs and sewers beneath the city. You've all just fought down a few robed figures, the animated bones of undeath, and an ooze of grey, of particular fright to Ellory. After taking a short breather, you all continue down through a mix of graves and drainage tunnels, until, up ahead, Ellory and Ezekiel hear the sounds of walking, probably several individuals, and Spider Ezekiel also makes out distant, stifled crying. What do you do?
Footsteps ahead.
Should we hide? Look in an ambush?
What's the terrain look like around us? Are we still in just an narrow hallway?
Yeah, more or less. The hallways have changed to be more circular. They're more drainage tunnels than they are catacomb hallways. But more or less, they're about 10 feet wide. They're tall enough, though, for a ball to not really have much of an issue. He has to hunch a bit. They're about 9 foot tall. But you can see a trail of water down the center, not very deep, and the smell of grime growing on the sides. And I'll say at this point, since Ezekiel, you rolled a natural 20, you can hear the sounds of flowing water up ahead, louder than the small stream beneath your feet.
I think we've made a lot of noise. Don't think an ambush would work. Maybe we should just go up ahead.
Yeah, as much as I usually prefer to take the quiet approach, I think it'll be a bit difficult with all this water to splash around in.
Well, whether or not we go quietly or throw caution to the wind in a sense, we should still take it a little bit slower and be careful, keep an eye out for any other dangers as we head that direction, I would say.
Alright. Ball will start to lead the way, looking out for, I'm going to assume, traps similar to the one sprouted out from underneath us before.
Sure. And how are you going? Carefully, quickly, normal pace?
I'd say more normal pace. Ball doesn't see the point in going super quiet when just finished having combat. But not so quickly that Ball is going to step over the most obvious of traps.
Okay. Yeah, so go and roll an investigation or perception.
That's a natural 1.
Okay. As you're continuing down this hallway, the sounds of the water trickling from up ahead kind of echoes off the tunnels. Looking around, it looks like this is some sort of mixture of stone that's just been carved out in a not perfect, but close to perfect circular design. Going through, you don't see any sort of traps or really much of anything besides the water trickling down the center and a bit of mold growing on the sides. As you're moving through, you could hear the sounds of the water moving water up ahead, growing louder as you get closer. And what's the marching order? Ball's near the front.
Sure, Kalvyn's towards the front.
I'll be in the middle.
I'll fall back.
I'll be just behind Ball and Kalvyn.
Can I be on the ceiling above the middle?
Yes.
Once it sounds like the noises are a bit louder, like we're on the right track, then I'd like to cast Jump on myself.
Okay. As you are moving through the tunnel, you can see the tunnel shifts to the left, turning. The wall's still curved and then shifts to the right. And as you're coming around those corners, you can hear the sound of water louder. And you can actually, the rest of you can now hear the movement of individuals, figures. And, Ball, you go ahead and cast this spell on yourself as you round the corner, Ezekiel, spider form hanging from the ceiling of this tunnel. And as you round the corner, you all see an open room. Those of you with enough light or enough dark vision to see, it looks long. And in the center of this long chamber is a canal of water pulling through. It's not very fast water, but it is running. You can see on the other side, there is a robed individual holding a candle, leading a mess of other individuals behind him further deeper into this undercroft and sewers. You can see those behind. There are several skeletons, and there are 3 that look humanoid that are neither undead or wearing robes. You can see there's one bridge across this canal that's maybe 20 feet wide. And standing in front of you, on your side of the canal as the other individuals are making their way on the other side, you see a woman. A human. She has olive, tan skin, brown, flowing, wavy hair that cascades down. And she's wearing a pretty but simple cotton dress that goes down to a little above her ankles. And she's wearing what looks like leather boots, similar to cowboy boots with a pointed toe. And she's just kind of sitting there, one hand on her hip, as she looks at you, smiling as you come around the corner. Well, would you look at this? You know, you've interrupted my very important business. I should introduce myself. My name is Eliza Underwater, and I'm of the will. I'm going to advise you and ask that you all just turn around now and let me get back to work. As you can see over her shoulder, the robed individual leading the skeletons and the 3, you can now see bound hand prisoners deeper with her.
And what kind of work is that?
A work I'm sure you would consider far beneath yourself. Best not to worry yourself about it.
Alright, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna say, why don't you tell us about it and cast suggestion on her?
Ooh, I love that phrase. I'm gonna try something. Perfect D&D. And that's a wisdom save, right?
Yes, that is a wisdom save.
So 13
DC
minus 1.
14.
To 12, so she would fail either way. So she kind of cocks her head and looks at you. Well, I suppose it won't matter if you ain't making out here alive. I work for the Will. We're a family of sorts, not from here, of course, but my master of the Will desires bodies. Slaves, prisoners, delights, all sorts. And these 3, well, they're coming to him. That is what I do.
As she's saying this, I am going to go ahead and cast Scorching Ray at her, all 3 rays directly at her.
Okay, let's all go ahead and roll initiative as you begin to pull out the flames.
That is why I took suggestion.
I have to roll for each ray.
Go ahead and roll initiative first.
Okay.
She's been suggested, but she's not taken off guard.
That's 17.
The big ol' 6 for Vesper.
Okay, and so as she's answering Amsen's question, suggested magically to do so, I'm going to throw you guys on the map. And so the first up is actually going to be Amsen. You see Ellory just right next to you begin to conjure up flame. She's about to try to strike at this one. What do you do?
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm kind of in the back of the group and can't really see very much. So, I'm going to inspire Ellory, because I know that she's making something right now. And I'm going to inspire her by singing, Whoa, here she comes. Watch out, boy, she'll screw you up. Oh, here she comes. She's a man-beater. Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boy, she'll cast a spell. Oh, here she comes. She's a tough killer.
Nice. And actually, that's perfect. So, Ellory, as you're conjuring up these flames, you hear the song from Amsen right next to you. And it's your turn. What do you do?
All right, so now I cast Scorching Ray.
Okay. So you push your way through, I assume, to get a better view of her.
Yes.
All the flames building as you do so.
First is just 12.
The flames over her shoulder. She quickly ducks with supernatural speed.
Second is Dirty 20.
That'll hit.
And third is 25.
That will hit as well.
And so that's 4d6. So 20 points of fire damage.
So as these three rays, the first one she quickly ducks under with surprising rapidity. As she was standing hand on hip, kind of in a relaxed position, she quickly maneuvers into a defensive stance. Dodges the first one, but isn't quick enough to be slammed by the second two bouts of flames. And you're kind of standing in the front of Ball next to Kalvyn. Did you want to stay there or move? You would have used about 25 movement to get there, so you could go one more square. All right, so shifting, moving up in her direction. That will bring us up now to Eliza. You see some of the flames of burnt on her neck and on her arm. You see these burn marks that almost begin to immediately heal up. She's still wounded, but half of the wound is gone already as she's quickly regenerating. And she's going to sprint directly towards you, Ellory. As she's sprinting towards you quickly, she holds her hand to her sides, and the shadows of this place, of this catacomb and sewer, begin to coalesce in her hand as she raises an empty hand up as this blade made of shadows themselves come down and strike towards you.
Disadvantage.
Okay, so Kalvyn brings out his now scarred shield, trying to block the blow, which instead of a natural 18 is now a 5, which makes it 11.
Nope.
She comes towards you, Ellory. So the shield blocks it away. She turns and goes for it one more time, and this time it is a 14 to hit.
Yes.
Okay. As this blade that is not quite of metal strikes into you, dealing 8 cold damage as it rakes across your stomach, leaving frost upon your flesh. And that is all she does. And that will bring us over to these guys here. And then, Ball, you'll be on deck in just a minute. As you hear the skeletons sprinting in your direction. So, Ball, you see as several skeletons begin to run, getting just behind Eliza as these two skeletons run forward. You see the prisoners and a few skeletons leave, running deeper into the catacombs. And it is your turn. What do you do?
Am I able to jump through the group here? Or be able to get past these guys in some way? Or am I stuck behind everybody?
You can. I'd have you roll an athletics just because the ceilings are kind of low. Looks like once you enter this room proper, the ceilings are a little higher.
Okay.
But you can roll athletics just because the jump is kind of difficult.
Okay. I will do that. So athletics, 18?
Yeah, that's plenty fun. You're able to kind of leap up, pushing off of the ceiling to leap over.
Okay. So I will leap over to get basically where this skeleton dude is. And I can't see much past it, so I'm just going to cast Mantle of Flame, allowing me to shed bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30 around me.
So you are engulfed by flames that shed light in this place.
And with my action, I am going to attack using Booming Blade at the creature in front of me. And has it been longer than 10 minutes since our last battle?
Yeah, it has.
Okay.
Through the walking of the tunnels, yeah, it's been longer than 10.
Alright, so then I'll swing here with my Booming Blade. That's a 9.
That'll miss as the creature ducks under quickly.
Alright, well then I will end my turn there.
Okay, and his ball leaps over you all, landing in front of the skeletons to face them. That'll bring us up to Ezekiel. You are upside down in the hallway. The closest enemy to you is face-to-face with Ellory, who is Eliza, the human, with a blade of shadow. Beyond her is Ball, with a few skeletons near him, and then the others are further.
I have it pulled up on my phone. I can't touch anything because my phone doesn't like it. But can you move me, kind of creep along the wall to just below Ball? Maybe hanging out there? Great, just so I can see.
So as you're creeping along the ceiling's 9 foot tall, but your large spider form hanging down, she can easily reach up and try to strike you hanging the ceiling with a 12.
That will miss.
Oh, okay, so she strikes up. Good.
I can no longer see anything on the other side of that corridor, so I'll just get as close to the skeletons as I can. I have 30 feet of movement. I don't know how much I used so far. Probably close to that.
You can go one more square.
Great. Then I'll dash so that I'm kind of side by side with Ball, blocking the skeletons from entering, and that'll be my turn.
Okay. So you, climbing on the ceiling, you drop down because as you enter this room, the ceilings raise about 30 feet into the air. You drop down onto the ground next to the skeletons and Ball?
Yeah.
Okay, so you flip midair, landing in front of this creature, surprised that you're there. And that brings us up to these guys that basically just sprint and to Vesper.
Okay, I'm going to go 5, 10, 20. I'm going to move up here between Kalvyn and Ellory next to Eliza, and I'm going to reach out for her and try to cast Inflict Wounds at first level.
Okay, so you reach out trying to grasp upon her.
Oh, no, that's a 12.
And with deft speed, she moves out of your way.
Okay, well, I don't think I can cast another 12 bonus actions, so that's me.
Okay, and that will bring us up to...
Or actually,
Kalvyn.
I'm going to move one square over, even if it incurs the attack, because I'm going to share to use a reaction, so...
Yeah, she sees you move out of the corner of her eye, but there's a lot of movement around and she doesn't get the opportunity. Kalvyn.
I do just that. I move into there and come rushing in with my spear a go and stab forth twice. Because why not? That's not gonna do jack. That's a 10.
You strike forth and she ducks under it.
And a 14.
The second one is close, and you hit skidding up on her left shoulder, cutting her dress, and that sleeve falls to the ground. But she just definitely gets away from that strike as well.
Okay, as a bonus action, I'm going to... Screw it, we'll just do it now. I'm going to grip my... What is it called? I know words, guys. My holy symbol. Yeah, that's it. My holy symbol. I'm going to grip it tight, and I'm going to mutter to myself, by the light of the Dawn Father, may he offer glory and honor, virtue, that's the one, virtue, as I shine his light upon this darkness. And then I'm going to take 2d8 damage. Let's see how that goes. That's not too bad. And then I will get my bonuses.
Okay, so willing to sacrifice what is needed to combat this darkness, you prepare to fight it. And that will bring us back up to Amsen.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to bring it up the rear of the group, behind kind of Kalvyn and Ellory. I'm going to peek, and I am going to viciously mock the lady in between all of my party members.
No, she fails.
Sweet. So I'm going to say, "You were never loved as a child," as she takes 4 points of psychic damage and has disadvantage on her next attack.
Your guess seems correct as you see she furrows her brow, reminiscing at the horror that was likely her childhood. She seems distracted out of the moment. Anything else for you, Amsen?
No. I don't have many bonus actions, so.
Okay, so that will bring us to Ellory. You are standing face to face with this humanoid woman holding a blade of pure shadows.
So I'm going to go ahead and move back away from her, and I will cast Chaos Bolt this time. Natural 20.
Well, that'll do it.
Ooh, this should be interesting. So that's 33 points of psychic damage, and the bolt leaps to the skeleton nearby, because I rolled double on the first damage roll.
Yeah, so it jumps.
And for the skeleton, it is 15 points of poison damage.
So, Ellory, as you back up from this woman, you begin to conjure up energy into your hand. It's coalescing flames, shifting into ice, shifting into warping sound energy. And as you release it, it screams this horribly loud noise. And as it hits her, she grips the side of her ears that immediately begin to bleed. And she almost doubles over from the impact, which almost seems to echo off her screams of pain, hitting into the skeleton. And as it begins to rack over, poison begins to drip out of the bones that suddenly crack from the sound of her screams. As the poison begins to drip out of these broken bones, dripping onto the ground, Ezekiel and Vulcan smell this foul poison dripping, but they remain standing, now covered in poison. So we can thank Ellory for that. And that will bring us up to Eliza. You can see she looks up, angry, furious at you. You can see the blood that drips down her ears begin to reverse as some of her wounds begin to heal up once more. She starts to take a step, looking to the side at Kalvyn with the spear and Vesper there as well. And she's going to smirk towards you and into shadow. You see she disappears in this dark place. And Ellory, suddenly you hear of shadow like smoke and fire energy coalescing right next to you as you see her still in half of the swing already. First one is a 21.
Definitely.
And the second one is a dirty 20.
Yep.
So she brings down this shade saber. It's long and curves like a cutlass, but it's almost a flame of black. 22 points of cold damage. She
okay.
Twice.
Ow.
Ooh, I didn't. They may be. Does an 18, would an 18 still would have hit you?
Yeah.
Okay. As Eliza shifts magically through shadow next to Ellory and is focusing on her, that will bring us up to these guys. So the green is going to go against Ball. A 9 to hit. And then the red against Ezekiel and Spider form, and that is going to be a 17 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. So it brings down this broken, rusted sword, dealing 8 piercing damage. So it strikes into you.
Ouch.
As you can hear in the distance the prisoners being forced to run. You can hear the crying is no longer stifled, but the cries of 2 women and even the cursing of a man as they're forced by skeletons further into the caverns, and that will bring us up to Ball.
Can I also jump past these guys to get to the other side of them?
Yeah, now the ceiling is pretty high, so with your strength and the spell, you can, without a check, just simply leap over them. You will take attack of opportunity, but you can easily leap over and land.
That's all right. So I will take the attack of opportunity to land, I guess, here?
Okay, so it's a 10. As it tries to strike at you as this flaming half-giant leaps into the air, coming down where you stand.
If I could, when I do land, I'd like to cast Earth Tremor with it. So when I do land, just kind of like really dig my feet into the ground to break up, I guess, cause a tremor in the ground.
Okay, so as you land, the stone beneath your feet begins to crack out and shake the ground around you. The first skeleton is a 6, the second one is a 9, and the blue one rolls a natural 1. All of those fail. Ezekiel will have to make a save as well.
I got a 20.
Alright, I think you take half damage. Sorry, Ezekiel. So that is going to be... Alright, so it's 4 bludgeoning damage. And they're knocked prone.
So these 3 skeletons around you are tripped by the force of the shaking ground, as well as the cracks that fall beneath them, and all 3 of them fall to the ground. Is that your turn?
Yeah, I think seeing them on the ground, I'm going to take a step up just to block this corridor, so I might take another attack opportunity. But if they're on the ground, I don't know if they can.
They can, but it'll be at disadvantage.
Okay, so I'll move up there.
So it tries. A natural 20, or a 7, which will be 11. So it reaches out towards you and just is scalded by the flames, pushed off.
Awesome, and that'll be very much.
That brings us to Ezekiel. In Spire form, you have 2 skeletons right in front of you on the ground.
Alright, which one looks less hurt?
They're equally hurt. The one on the right, I think, is hurt a little more. No, they're equally hurt.
Okay. Then I will just go for the green one and try and bite him with a spider bite.
Okay, you bring the large fangs into the air, coming down as these skeletons try to scramble.
Not great.
I think you get advantage because of...
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
That's better. 19.
19 hits.
Okay, so he has to make a Constitution saving throw versus acid. Only 4 piercing damage and...
a 19 on the con save.
Alright, then only... it was 11, so 5 acid.
Enough. As this one covered in poison, the acid burns off the liquid and then getting into the bone as it seeps into the cracks of the marrow that were opened by Ellory's spell, burning this one from the inside out. As it's just as it's trying to get to its feet, it just falls apart. The green, necrotic, almost flame-like energy that holds the bones together just fades.
I am going to use my Speeder's Leap ability to get to the other side of the cavern. I can probably just get to the entrance to that little hall. I just want to see how far they've made it, if there's any hope of chasing them. I can leap up to 90 feet vertically or horizontally.
Yeah, okay. So you're fine. So you get down here. And they're not exactly where you see them. They're very far down. You can just see them about 60 feet down, just turning around the corner to the left.
Alright, that's too far. I'll just turn and look back out there and get ready to leap back in.
Okay. That will bring us up to these guys with Vesper on deck. So the 2 skeletons are going to step up to Ball. The first one is still standing. A 7 to hit. The other one is going to stand up. And that one is a 16 to hit. Against Ball.
They both miss.
Okay. So they both, one just strikes at you, raking against the flames. The other one just gets to its feet and tries to jab you, hitting nothing but your armor. And that brings us up to Vesper.
Okay, bonus action. I'm going to cast Healing Word on Ellory at 2nd level. Which is 13 points of healing. And then I'm going to run up, and I'm going to try and stab her with my rapier.
Okay.
Hey, natural 19, so 26.
That hits.
Right, and Ellory's there, so I get sneak attack. Oh, yeah. 16 piercing damage with the sneak attack.
And what weapon are you using?
My opal rapier with vipers.
Okay. So it strikes into her flesh. You see it almost pushes her against the wall as you withdraw it, the blood beginning to pool out. The blood flows dark, almost black, and slow like molasses, but it comes.
Okay, that's my turn.
Okay, Vesper, that brings us up to Kalvyn.
Am I able to squeeze past Vesper?
Yeah, it's just difficult terrain, essentially.
Okay. And then I will get to there. Don't freeze. There we go. I will come charging back into that fray again with a little bit of nice shiny glow about me as I stab forth twice again.
Okay.
With a 24, 27 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And then a 18 to hit.
Yeah, both of those will hit.
Okay, cool. 22 total damage.
As these two strikes, you can tell she's starting to look pretty rough. She immediately looks over at your weapon.
And then I'm going to shield bash her downwards.
Okay, try to knock her prone.
It's 15 plus whatever. Well, it's plus 10, so that's a 25.
So with a surprising amount of strength, she pushes against your shield. Far more strength than someone of her appearance should have, but she still goes down.
Oh, okay, you scared
But you knock her down, but it takes... The first force doesn't hit you, and you kind of drive into her further, knocking her to the ground then, but you're surprised with how strong she is. But she does go down. Is that your turn,
Another
Kalvyn?
life. Yeah, that'll be my turn. Kalvyn is thinking, wow, she's got some muscle. Too bad I have to kill her.
And that'll bring us up to Amsen.
So, feeling that my friends have it relatively under control, I'm going to use my bonus action to cast a first level healing word on Ellory, just to top her up a little bit more. So that's 5 points of healing.
Thank you.
And I'm going to start moving into this room. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Unfortunately, I do not have enough movement to be able to get close enough to the skeletons that are literally swarming Ball at this moment. However, I will use my action to ready a strike with my rapier if anything gets within melee range of me. And that's my turn.
Okay. Alright. So moving forth there. There we go. So moving forth, you see one skeleton on the ground as you're moving towards it as Ball is heading off two others with the spider in the distance. That'll bring us up to Ellory.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is cast Shocking Grasp on Eliza. And that is 23 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
What effect does prone have?
Is that a melee spell attack?
It's a melee spell attack.
You would have advantage.
Okay. So, just in case, no, I'll go with that original 23.
Yeah, it still hits. As the electricity builds in your hands, releasing it downwards towards her. She tries to roll out of the way, but Kalvyn's shield bashes push her down.
That's just 2 points of lightning damage. Then I'm going to move back since she does not have a reaction now. And I know it's going to be at disadvantage, but I'm going to go ahead and cast Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
Using 2 sorcery points to make it a bonus action.
Okay.
So for the first beam, that's going to be... Oh, I haven't used Amsen's Inspiration yet. So that's going to be 18 for the first beam.
At disadvantage with
Yeah, that was at
inspiration?
disadvantage.
Yeah,
With
that'll
that
hit.
inspiration. And the second beam... it's going to be 17 to hit at disadvantage.
Yeah, that'll hit as well.
So that will be, if I can find the right dice for this, a total of 9 force damage.
Okay. So as the electricity courses through her, you see the left side of her face is burnt, singed by the lightning. Her hair burnt away on that side of her face. And as you back up, she twitches, trying to reach with her shadow blade towards you, but is unable to move quickly enough. You back up to the wall, forming these eldritch energies into your hands, releasing them forth. These force of warping energy twist her shoulder, almost pulling it out of socket and ripping it sideways as the second one slams into her side. You can see her ribs almost ripple, as if they are a leaf on the wind or a feather being rustled by the wind as they suddenly crack into numerous pieces. You can see she is looking pretty rough at this moment and is beginning to pain. And that will bring us up to Eliza. And as you see her beat up, burned, singed, stabbed, blood black running like molasses down her sides, she's looking around panicked, but even then she begins to breathe in. And you see some of the scars burnt on her face begin to fade away, healing up. Her ribs beginning to fuse back together. She's still looking rough, but her ability to regenerate is clear at this moment. She looks around and she speaks as she begins to form a blackness in her hand. Well, it seems I've underestimated you. I won't do that again. She disappears into blackness, reappearing near Amsen, against the wall, her feet on the wall, sideways, standing, running along the wall, as if her gravity pulls her to the side as she's running forth.
I use my reaction to attack her, because I have that ready.
Okay.
So that's going to be
sprint
with my rapier. See how this goes. That's an 11.
Your rapier strikes out, but she's in full sprint mode at this point, sprinting along the wall, leaping into the air, and her jump ability, as she jumps, she hits the ground running and just lands on the other side. As she quickly shifts, running on the side of the wall, landing onto the floor, stepping across the skeletons, leaping over, flying, landing just barely on the other side, as she begins to sprint once more. She sprints up the wall, turning and running almost on the ceiling as she's wrapping around. And that will be her turn, and it will bring us up to this red one. It's going to move down towards you, Amsen, striking out at you. A natural 19 should be a 23 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Dealing 6 piercing damage as he stabs you with a rusted old broken longsword. And as Ezekiel, you can see the prisoners, the 2 skeletons, and the robed individual sprinting further. And that will bring us up to Ball.
So seeing this woman jump across me and feeling that I too have a spring in my step, I'm going to look to the party and say, I'll see what I can do. And I will just kind of like half squat. And has it been an hour since our last combat, or less than an hour?
Hasn't quite been an hour.
Okay, so with long strider, that gives me an extra, is it 10 feet of movement? That I should have enough to basically get right beside her.
Okay. So as you squat down, beginning to get in position to leap across this slow-flowing canal of water, she sees that, and she reaches her hand out, pointing towards the skeletons next to you, and calls something crackling in a language you don't understand. And as you do so, they use their attacks of opportunity to try and grapple you. The first one versus your athletics, 16.
11.
So the first one grapples around your leg as you begin to lift into the air. You almost pull him off of his feet. And the other one grabs onto you but isn't able to provide any force. But the first one is able to pull you back down, preventing you from running. That's the orange one that has you grappled right now.
So grappling me, it's going to take fire damage equal to...
The flames run down its arm.
3.
Singeing the bones, scarring and burning them black. The little bit of cloth and leather that makes up the piecemeal armor this creature is wearing is burning away, but its arms remain.
And can I do any movement?
Your movement is reduced to 0, effectively.
I still have my action, so is there anything I can do with my action to allow me to move?
Normally you can dash, but your movement is 0, so you won't be able to move.
Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna turn to these guys, and kind of like, with a roar, I'm going to try to attack them with, Phoenix Blade, my Steel Greatsword.
Okay, bringing the Greatsword.
I'll attack the one that is currently grouping me.
Go for it.
And a 17?
Yeah, that'll hit.
Okay, so that'll be 9 slashing, and then, if this works properly, plus 5 fire damage to the one in front of me.
Yeah, so the one that's holding you, bring the greatsword down. Between that and the flames that roar up it, you smash it into the ground. singed bones kind of rolling at your feet. You're no longer grappled.
Perfect. And then...
So you still have your movement.
Oh, do I? Okay. And then it'll be 13 fire damage to the one beside it.
And that one bursts into flames and falls. Parts of the burning bones falling into the canal beside it, sizzling as it hits into the water.
So, am I able to jump now, or has my jump basically been used?
No, your movement, is now returned back to its normal movement, since you haven't used it yet.
Alright, so then I'm going to do the jump I tried to do earlier, get into melee range of her, and with my bonus action, I'm going to cast Compelled Duel, which is a wisdom saving throw.
And that is a 14.
I think she just makes it. My DC is 14, so that's a pass, right?
She just manages to push through your command.
Alright, well, that's the best I can do, and that'll be the end of my turn.
Was that an action to cast that?
Bonus action.
Bonus action, okay. Alright, so yeah, you smash the two skeletons and flames leaping over, compelling her to fight you, but she looks amused. And that will bring us up to Ezekiel in spider form. You no longer see the prisoners. They've now gotten out of your sight. And what was that?
I just said, hey, bitch, and I'm going to leap right onto the wall next to her.
All right.
And I'm going to try and bite her. Please work. 16 plus 5, 21.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And I am going to drop a first level smite into it.
Okay.
She wouldn't happen to be undead, would she?
She would.
Oh, great. So that's going to give me an extra D8, I believe?
Yeah, an extra D8 against undead.
So let me just look. 2D8.
And as you're rolling, it's one of those things, as you leap the spider form, the divine energy trailing off your fangs as you slam into her. You may not know or understand that she's undead, but this bite affects her far more than it should.
All right. Well, first she makes that Constitution saving throw versus the acid. That is 11 piercing, 9 acid, and double ones on the radiant. 7 radiant.
She made a 19 on her con save.
Oh, then that's halved for the acid, so that's only 4.
Okay. So as you fly through the air, landing your divine fangs into her, the radiant energy strikes in. You notice she almost resists the piercing themselves, the fangs by themselves, but the radiant energy burns into her flesh. The acid begins to burn into her as well. She's not looking good. She is on death's door, as it were. She's looking panicked, and she's almost the shade saber. The blade of shadow in her hand is wavering, faltering. It's still there, but she's having a difficult time keeping it in her possession. And that will bring us up to those guys, which are dead, and to Vesper.
Awesome. I'm going to run up next to Amsen. Here, that's 30 feet. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Sacred Flame her, so she needs to make a dexterity save.
Okay. 24.
Yeah. And then bonus action, I'm going to cast my spiritual weapon right next to her.
Okay.
That's a hit. And I want it to be a morning star this time, because I want it to hurt.
Okay. And I'm going to use the same symbol just for the time save. It appears as a divine silver gold morning star appearing next to her.
15 to hit.
15 will just barely hit.
Okay. Which is good, which is 11 force damage.
The divine sacred energy, the flames, release down at a column. She, with unnatural speed, is still recovering from the fangs, but she shifts quickly with supernatural dexterity and speed away from the flames. But as she does so, she turns her back upon a shimmering glimmer, which forms into this huge morning star, this spiked mace that comes down towards her, slamming into the side. Her body just ripping and rippling as that arm is thrown asunder. And that left arm almost hangs loose. She's now holding the blade just in one hand, barely keeping her footing, backing up against the wall. And that will bring us up to Kalvyn.
Well, I currently cannot see anything unless I could go 15, 30. I will get to whatever is right there. Okay, so that's awesome.
Kalvyn, she essentially between Vesper and Ball and the wall she's next to, she essentially has full cover.
Cool beans.
If you have disadvantage and roll natural 20s, maybe, but it's a long shot.
I will move to there using my action. And is Amsen hurt? I don't have anything. Don't answer that.
Amsen's a tiny bit hurt. He's fine.
Cool. So I'm just gonna chill here, and
is that your turn?
And I'm gonna be like, we got this, Amsen, and then post up for a high five, and then that's about it.
Okay, so Kalvyn, you sprint forward trying to catch up, stopping next to Amsen, and the one skeleton remaining. I don't think he's on the ground anymore, actually. I think he stood up. And that will bring us up to Amsen.
Alright. I'm just gonna try to stab at the skeleton in front of me. See how that works. Oh, hey, that's a 16 to hit.
Yeah, that'll hit.
So I don't know how this works because it's a skeleton, but I stab at it with my rapier for 7 points of piercing damage.
You notice you try to stab it and you do hit it, but your rapier goes through the rib cage. You knock a few of the bones loose, but you notice piercing is not ideal for a creature of this type.
Alright, so I'll just step out of the way and wave, I'll high five Kalvyn first, step out of the way, and wave the way open for Vesper. And that is my turn.
Okay, and that will bring us up to Ellory, standing at the back.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is move up, and then I will use my action to dash to get up next to this canal near Kalvyn. And then I am going to use 2 sorcery points to cast... What am I going to cast? Let's go with Scorching Ray again as a bonus action.
Okay. She has a little cover. I know you ignore most of it. Let me think about how. I'm going to say she's still going to get a cover bonus because she may actually be considered completely covered, but there's a tiny sliver, so there's a chance you can weave it in between the ball and the wall.
Okay.
So she technically basically has full cover, but because of your sniper ability, you're having the chance to try to sneak it through. She's going to have a cover bonus though.
Okay, worth a shot anyway. So the first is 18.
That one slams against the wall right next to her. The flames lick around, burning part of her hair, but not enough to hurt.
Okay. Second's not going to hit. And the third's not going to hit either.
Okay, so the first one slams against the wall. The other 2, you're trying to not hit ball and try to weave it in and hit her, and they end up hitting the floor, the roof, or the wall that she's kind of hiding behind.
And frustrated, I am going to say fuck and end my turn.
Okay. That brings us up to Eliza. She's heavily wounded, bleeding, burnt. But this time you notice Ball and Ezekiel, the wounds don't recover. They don't regenerate. And she's looking around panicked. And surprisingly, she uses her last one of the day to be able to shift into shadow through and around Ezekiel and Ball, shifting there, and is just going to sprint. And that will bring us up to Ball.
Okay, does jumping use up movement?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Does it really make a difference here? Maybe for flavor, I'll do like a little run jump to use my 30 feet of movement here to get to here. And I saw her go down towards the south.
Yeah, down towards the south. You can just see the edge of her as she's just about to round the corner.
Okay, so I've got 10, because I had the long strider, I still have 10 points of movement left, so I'll move down 2 more. Now, you say I can see the edge of her, but
Oh, well, you may not be able to.
Okay.
Your flaming light releases out down the hallway, but as far as it releases, there's still shadow, and you can hear running, but you can't see.
Okay. In what direction do I hear the running?
Directly south.
Okay. So I'm going to use my action to continue to run, just ignoring what I see. So I'll go 2 squares at a time. Now, I'm still too far away, so that's going to be as much as I can do with my action. Can't do anything with my bonus action. So I think I'll just be, like, mid-running, trying to chase her, and that'll be good on my turn.
Okay. So that'll bring us down to Ezekiel, and this might turn into a chase scene, but Ezekiel's the next closest, so you might have a chance. As you see, Eliza shifts into shadow before sprinting down the hallway, the same direction where you saw the prisoners and the other skeletons heading.
All right, so I'll get around the corner and move me just so I can see maybe how far she is.
So 20 feet to get there.
And I can't do the leap unless I use all my movement. So.
And this hallway is more narrow, like the first one.
Yeah, I hear you. I'll just dash and get as close as I can.
Okay, and what's your movement?
It's
20 to get there.
So it's 30, so I'd have another 40 feet.
Okay. I'll say you can just get ahead of Paul, as it slows you down a little bit to get through him, but you're able to get to the other side. And that will bring us up to Vesper and Kalvyn. Vesper, Kalvyn, Amsen, Ellory. There's this one skeleton left. Vesper, you're up first.
Yeah, I'm going to step up, cursing that she's left. I'm going to draw one of my daggers out of my sleeve with my offhand, and I'm going to go with the rapier and dagger at the skeleton.
Okay.
That's a natural 20 on the rapier.
Yeah, that is.
I probably won't need to stab him too. Well, that is 8 piercing damage. Oh, and a sneak attack because Kalvyn's right there. With an extra 5, so 13.
13 damage?
13 piercing damage.
13 piercing, that's still enough. Again, just like Amsen, your piercing rapier strikes through the ribcage, but it knocks enough of the bones loose as the green undead energy that's holding the bones together clatters them to the ground, the last bit of the runes on these bones fading from light. And that's just a pile of bones in the ground.
On second thought, I will move my bow a little bit closer to where we're going and start running for the bridge.
Okay. So at this point, just to loosen the initiative up a little bit, since I know you are basically just running, can I assume everyone is just sprinting after Ball and Ezekiel and Eliza?
Yep.
Okay, so begin to do so, sprinting after, chasing, either jumping across, swimming across, running across the bridge. You kind of come around to the hallway where you see Ball and Ezekiel are far down it. Ball and Ezekiel, do y'all have anything? Comes back to her turn, and she turns around the corner after about 10 feet.
Yeah, unless there's ever a shot that I'm in a straight line in these winding corridors and I can make the leap, I don't have any way of catching her.
Can I throw Ezekiel ahead of me?
I'm your size.
Yeah, but I'm also, strong. I work out.
I mean, he might get an extra 10, 15 feet. Roll an athletics check. Just roll an athletics check.
It's an 18.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to throw Ezekiel pretty far down, as he's now in spider form, is vastly outpacing you. The tunnel, as you turn around the corner, Ezekiel, you see it widens slightly, and then you see a narrower passageway. You can see, it looks like the hallway stops, like there's a blockage, and there's a T where it turns left and right. And this passageway is very narrow. It's only about 5 feet wide. You can see holes in the central large stone column, as well as in the sides where it looks like there are bodies entombed into the sides of the walls and the central pillar that kind of blocks this cabin.
I'm going to stop running and shift back.
Okay, so you shift back into regular Ezekiel. As Ball, you catch up and begin to see this and notice that this hallway is pretty tight for you coming up.
Did you find her? Where is she?
We're not going to catch her, and she regenerates. If we catch her now, she'll be back at full strength. We need to wait for the others and think out our next move.
Paul catches his breath.
Okay. A few breaths go by before you hear the sprinting, not long, just a few seconds behind you, of Kalvyn, Ellory, Vesper, Amsen.
Where is she?
Down here somewhere. I lost sight of her.
If you go now and sit together, maybe she won't have time to recover.
She seemed to heal herself pretty quick, I think. She'll probably be at full strength. I'd rather we were together, as opposed to running headlong into something. We don't know how many more down here.
So what are we supposed to do? Go back? Let her get away with those people?
No.
We keep fucking going.
We pursue, just more carefully. We're not going to beat her in a chase. I mean, I'm not saying we don't go quickly. I'm just saying that I don't want to run into another pit full of ooze that burns. We'll go quickly, but not dumbly.
We are in her element after all. She knows this place better than we do.
Ball's going to step up ahead and try to navigate through the narrow cracks, and I'm going to assume it's going to be difficult. So when Ball's having a hard time through, we'll kind of take a step back and motion for the rest of the party to go ahead. I'll follow behind as best I can.
Does anyone have a way of, I don't know, making it easier for her?
Sadly, not in my bag of tricks.
As you're discussing, you can hear beyond the shifting of feet, the clanking of metal against metal. You can hear a low voice kind of echoing, not so far away. A voice not speaking common anymore, but similar to Eliza's.
All right.
You can hear her crying once more.
That sounds like a reason to push forward. I can go ahead. I'm uninjured as of yet.
Is there anybody that is notably injured?
I still don't look great from our last encounter.
I'm down a bit, but I'm okay.
I'll survive.
I'll tap.
No, I've got, here, I'll pull out one of my healer's kits and use my healer feat on myself. And, heal one.
Bring up the bandages, wrapping them over your wounds, trying to quickly medic yourself. You can hear the almost chanting growing louder. And as you're just standing here, you feel a shift in the room. You've obviously moved away from the sewers and drainage pipes and back into an area of catacombs and burial. And as the chanting gets louder, you feel a sudden coolness in the room, as if you are in the midst of a sudden blizzard or winter. You can see along the stone ground and the walls, frost beginning to crystallize on the walls and floor, slowly creeping in your direction as the temperature drops.
I'd like to cast Divine Sense.
You can sense nearby undead, a lot of it.
And then I'll say to the party, you need to hurry, there's not much time. Quick. And I will, while Vesper's trying to heal herself, unless you suddenly look full health?
I'm pretty good. I'm only 5 under. I'm fine.
Well, whoever looks wounded, I'm just going to touch each person that looks wounded and give them some HP, but I don't know if he's wounded. Okay, so I'll give 3 HP to Vesper, 3 to Ellory, and 3 to Amsen as I kind of push you aside, push you through to get going.
Yeah, Ezekiel take the lead, and I'll just go as fast as I can.
Okay. And as you're inching around, did you want to use the same initiative or re-roll and take a break as I'm putting the initiative together?
I wouldn't mind a break.
Yeah.
So let's roll initiative and put it in the chat, and then we'll take a break and we'll come back at 9:40 in 10 minutes. Sound good?
Aye, Captain.
That's so fitting for my initiative to be 0, a natural 1, while I struggle to get through the tight catacombs.
It's okay, Ball. I'm right behind you with a 1.
So ahead of me.
True. I rolled a 2.
Next time on Back to the Story.
You all feel a sudden shiver on your shoulders. Above you, a scar along the sky itself, as if heavens were cut into. You see a white scar, as if of light, some millennia away, shining just faintly down. As you all see a light, gleaming gold in the distance from the ruins. It doesn't matter much anymore, though. The wheel will get you.
For part 2 of this episode of Back to the Story, you can find it on Stitcher, Google Play, Player FM, or TuneIn. If you'd like to support the show, feel free to buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/backtothestory.